Hi, and welcome to Slooh's live portion of our exciting presentation here. I'm sure you guys have been hearing from Mike for a little while, and we're so happy to be a part of promoting astronomy among school children in Nigeria. This is such a great thing to really be a part of. And I'm Eric Edelman here, and I'm broadcasting to you live from Smoky Hollow Studios in Slooh HQ in Washington Depot, Connecticut, in the United States of America. And right here, we're in the 6 a.m. hour. It's pretty early. Over by you, it's getting close to noon right about now. And over in Australia, where we're getting live views from, the sun is already setting, and we have beautiful, beautiful live views of the moon. Just as it's getting right about halfway full, it's going to be gorgeous views, and we're so much looking forward to sharing it with you. And this is a picture of Michael Palucci himself among school children in Nigeria, and this is it's such a great, really celebration of the connection that we have throughout the world to be broadcasting to you from one place and to be showing you live views from the other place and to be talking with you in person, another Slooh person, as a part of all this. And it's really going to be a lot of fun to talk with you today. And I'm going to be joined by Slooh community manager Paul Cox, who's going to have a lot of great insights to tell you about the Slooh telescopes and about what it means to be a part of this incredible Slooh relationship. So welcome to the show, Paul. It's great to have you on this morning.
Thank you, Eric, and hello to all the children over there in Nigeria.
Yeah, and you're really, without further ado, we have some incredible live images for you, and you can see that they're live because you see this interesting stuff going across the surface of the moon. There's the moon, and there's clouds, or
Uh,
a little bit of clouds going across it as well. That's really gorgeous. And so we see the moon here, and then we see lightness and shadow. And so, like, what does that mean? Like, what part of the moon are we looking at here, Paul?
well, it's roughly in the middle, actually, and we're looking at what's called the terminator, which is like this region between daytime and nighttime on the moon. That's what we're seeing.
That's it's so great. And if you look at the moon day by day, you see changes. Sometimes you see this huge, brilliant ball of light, and sometimes you see a little small crescent. And so through the month, observing it with your own eyes, you see this change in the moon, and we can see it here with these big telescopes that we have from our feed partners around the world. And this is just a really close-up view of what you normally see is that circle of light in the sky. And there's so much that you can really learn from the circle of light, and that you can have an own adventure for yourself when it comes to this bright giant moon in the sky. There's different people who see different shapes in the moon. Like, you see constellations, you draw pictures of different things that are familiar to you, so you can guide yourself along that map of the night sky. And one particular image that's really familiar to people is the old man in the moon. You might have heard of that one. And there's a really interesting one that actually some Slooh members came up with, in that one of our members, Christina Feliciano, was talking to just a kid at an observatory one day. And that kid was like, you know what I think the moon looks like? I can actually see this dinosaur that's playing soccer in the middle of the moon. And she thought this was amazing, and so she came back to the Slooh members, and she started, talking to them and showing them her little drawing of that, which we have it right here for you. Actually, here it is coming up. The dinosaur playing soccer on the moon. You see the outline of the dinosaur right there. You see the ball being kicked up at the top, and so that's another image that you can think of when you think of the different shapes and the patterns in the moon. And then, of course, one of our other Slooh members saw this and wanted to make a cartoon of it. And so we have this gorgeous look at the dino playing soccer on the moon by Jorge. This is a bit of fun. It traces along the darkness and light of the moon, and particularly this takes into account the full moon and all that you can see there. But there's lots of different shapes that are coming around in the lightness and the dark at each phase of the moon. When it's half full, when it's closer to full, when it's only just a small crescent. And so when you're looking up at the night sky, maybe you want to take your own adventure and see what you can see for yourself in those different shapes, because anybody can see something that is familiar to them and something that they can recognize in the moon. Whether it's the old man, whether it's a dinosaur playing soccer, whether it's somebody cooking a grilled cheese, whatever it is, that is something that can help you guide your own way through the moon, and that's important to be able to relate it to yourself. And really, you can use these images, just like the dinosaur in the moon, to look at things that have actually happened in the moon. Like, what are some maybe intriguing parts of the moon that you might be able to point out using this dino map, Paul?
Well, if we look at the dinosaur's head, have a look just in the corner of his jaw. And if we go back to the live image, we can see exactly where that is. And it's a very, very special place on the moon. It's where man first set foot on the moon. It's the Apollo 11 landing site. And that's where astronauts first put a foot in the dusty moon's surface. And that's just in the corner of the dinosaur's jaw. So if we can go back to the live image, I can show you exactly where that is. It's actually in a place called the Sea of Tranquility. And there are no seas on the moon, surely. There's no water, there's no atmosphere, there's no air like we have on Earth. Those dark areas, that's what people used to think they were, but we still call them seas. But actually, they're lava beds from volcanoes, from when the moon had volcanoes on it. And they're big, big areas that are covered with this smooth lava, and that's what makes them dark. And the particular one that is making up the back of the dinosaur's head there is called the Sea of Tranquility, and that's where Apollo 11 landed. So a very special place that you can look at, because you can see the Sea of Tranquility very easily at the moment. If you just look up just with your own eyes, and the moon is visible at the moment all around the world just shortly after sunset. So after the sun's gone, before you have to go to bed, look out to where the sun went down to the west, and you'll see the moon gradually setting, and you'll be able to see all of these dark and light areas, some of the big craters as well.
And you were mentioning that we can see it really well on the live images, and I can take us to the live images, but you might see something a
Excellent.
little interesting. Oh, and so right now we're just seeing the landing site popping out of the clouds, and so you can see the darkness
Wow,
is
perfect.
coming right in.
Perfect. Now, if you can get rid of our heads, Eric, we can see that what we're looking at there, the big dark area in the middle, that's the Sea of Tranquility. And there we can see the dinosaur's mouth and his eye, just as the clouds rolled over to hide the dinosaur's head again. So try and come up, when you look at the moon yourself with your own eyes, try and come up with these patterns yourself. Eric's already mentioned that some people can see the man in the moon, other people can see a basketball player. So if you're into basketball and sports, then see if you can spot that one. But this is our favorite because it was thought of by a young lad, probably your same age. He was in junior elementary school, and he saw a dinosaur. And everybody now can see the dinosaur. So maybe you can discover a new shape in the moon. That would be cool.
Yeah, and I mean, really, we can't have enough shapes and different ways to look at the moon. So keep using your imagination for this one. And I just think it's so fun that we get to see the moon coming in and out from behind these clouds. It shows us how, active and exciting the universe is, that we have these clouds rushing by as there's the moon in the sky. It brings to mind for me that there's so much activity out there, and there's so much to explore, and there's so many different ways to explore it. And one of the great things that we can talk about today is how you can explore using the Slooh telescopes. And here we have a lot of great resources, particularly in the beautiful Canary Islands. Like, here's an image of it coming up right here. Like, there's lots of different stuff that we can talk about here. Like, these are our domes and things like that. Like, what
Yeah.
what sort of things can we do here with these, Paul?
Well, Mike has probably told all of the children in Nigeria this morning that inside these domes in the Canary Islands, on top of this enormous volcano, we're above the clouds. Inside those domes are the telescopes that they will be able to control as part of this great project that we're running. So, with every school in the USA who signs up to use the Slooh telescopes, they're going to be paired with a school in Nigeria, and you can all view through the telescopes, control the telescopes to view not only our moon, but did you know you can see at least 10 other moons because other planets also have moons. And you can see Jupiter's four largest moons through the Slooh telescopes. So when you can control the telescopes, you can point them to Jupiter and you'll see four little spots of light on either side of Jupiter with this great red spot. You can also see Saturn's biggest moons and even the moons of Neptune and Uranus. So it's not just Earth's moon. You can see loads of moons, and that makes a really good project for you to do at school to see maybe how many moons you can observe in one night using the Slooh telescope. So that would be a really cool project.
There's so many different things that you can do with these telescopes. Really, the universe is in your hands. There's so much to be learned, so much to explore, and it's great to be able to do it in a team effort, like what we were talking about today, as you
Yeah,
discuss what you can see in the moon, and maybe what you can see on these different moons, and having those adventures as a team. I think is so important because you get to hear all these different opinions and you get to learn together. I think that's a really powerful thing. But we've gone on a little bit longer than we said we would, but there's just so much exciting stuff to talk about, and it's so much fun to share it with you live. And so, on behalf of Slew, I just wanted to thank you for listening to what we have to say and being excited about the night sky. I think it's so important as you go on learning to have that adventure when you look up and to know that there's so much out there to discover and that you could be the one to discover it. So yeah, I really thank you again for watching. Any sort of last words as we head off here, Paul?
just that. Maybe one of the children in the audience might be the next person to discover a supernova, an exploding star, or maybe a comet, or an asteroid, or maybe come up with the next picture in the moon. That would be really cool. Somebody in the audience might be the next person to do one of those things.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you are, share it with us. We'd love to see what you've discovered. But thank you again, and I hope you're having so much fun listening to Michael Palucci over there and having a great time learning about the universe. But for now, live from Smoky Hollow Studios, this has been Eric and Paul for Slew. Thanks again so much for watching.